Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a firm believer in counseling. I believe that one of the healthiest things you can do is just vent to somebody who's not going to gossip behind your back and who you can trust to help you work through things. I don't think that you need to have something quote-unquote wrong with you to enjoy that exercise or to seek out that exercise. I start out this video with that point because I've always had trust issues. But for the past 8 going on 9 years, I've had major trust issues, and it has nothing to do with the women I've dated and everything to do with the company I've dated, aka Kabam. Because whenever you feel like you're starting to master a new champion or get something down like Perry or Dex or even the arena, that trust gets eroded and you're left wondering, how did this happen? The way that it's summed up as I darken the screen to go to a forum post link sent to me by my friend Crank17K, he says, it's insane and annoying the way that Kabam can just change anything at any time for any reason and expect the community to deal with it or leave. And I agree. With that being said, we have a forum post simply titled Rankdown Tickets for Zemo and Kraven. Here is essentially a bunch of people talking about the changes. Can you point out any indication since Kraven's release that he was bugged or that there was any problem with Root? They literally released 3 more champs that used Root on the Defender in that time and made no mention of a bug. That means Zemo, Mystic Spidey, Sandman were all fully built and implemented with Root working the way it did last week. The team responsible for designing and knowing this all, or how all this works, had to be playing with Root a lot in that time to make those champs. If it was bugged, why did they never say anything and still release the champs knowing they were bugged from launch with no acknowledgement? My friend, we have asked that question about a number of topics over the years. The choice is either they knew it was broken when they started working on those champs and they said nothing to the community and let us all assume they were working as designed, which of course is a smart move because it allows you to purchase crystals for a champion thinking that they're working as intended, or they noticed a design flaw with Zemo allowing something unintended and made a snap decision to alter Root for everyone without thinking about or maybe even understanding the impact on other champions. If it's option 1, then they lose all credibility and trust and nobody should bother buying any crystals for new champs because you have no way of knowing if you'll get what you paid for. And of course, that's also in some ways true because even if the champion is working as intended, they could come out and say that they're working too well. Because remember, as KT1 figured out in his awesome interview with a Kabam employee, if the rebalancing program had existed then as it does now, both Hercules and Kitty Pryde would have been in some way nerfed. Number 2, they should have at the very least explained what the bug was and what they were fixing and why how. A note to the Trello board about a bug with Zemo doesn't give any indication they're going to tank Kraven's usability. I think number 2 is much more likely they need to stop implementing fixes without properly communicating the problem and the intended fix. This literally just happened with the Gambit relic, and here we are again on a bigger scale. And of course, plenty of people, including myself, used rank up gems and resources to take one or more of those champions. I took Kraven to rank 3 and Zemo to rank 4, and then of course put a ton of 6 stones into him. Grounded Wisdom has responded simply by saying, you can't understand how that's a conspiracy? And this is why forum posts always seem to turn into madness. But, you know, what else is new? Keep scrolling down on this forum post. You'll see a lot of people who have thoughts on this. A lot of people. Including, let's see this response to this from I Tell No Tales 1. If it was just Zemo, then they could have simply decreased his extra combat power rate when rooted from 40% to 30% and the problem would have been solved. They hadn't spoken a word on this after the silent fix. making me believe that they only intended to let the root bug go on as long as they could in any way, get cash from it, and then they fixed it as it started benefiting players more than it benefited them. Just a theory, I hope it's not true. Well, wait, Kabam would wait to fix something until it cost them money, but if it was making them money, they'd be slow to fix it? Where have I heard that before? Oh wait, every single year we played this game? Some of you out there remember when Nick Fury was bugged for like 8 months and would turn into the real Nick Fury at the start of the fight, giving him far less utility because you basically had like 20% health during the fight to start. And Kabam said they kept looking into it. You better believe if Nick Fury had an extra life, if he had like 3 phases, they would have fixed it 2 minutes in. So, yeah. So, basically, there's discussions about potential compensation with this. But those are just discussions. Elpoo says, I was really upset about Mole Man almost exactly a year ago, but since then I've come to expect this kind of business happening from time to time. And Mole Man is another example of a champion that for a long time was seemingly bugged, but they let it go and then fixed it sort of randomly. So, there are 7 pages, by the way. 7 pages on this. Second Skriller on July 12th was the first to post this. They're my 2 favorite champions. By the way, that spelling of favorite makes me feel extra fancy. Also makes me think you're British, English. Either way, pinky up when it's a O-U-R-I-T-E. Maybe you're Canadian. They're my 2 favorite champions sitting at rank 5 because I love their root mechanic, yet the last patch completely ruined them by allowing opponents to special 3 out of root. This change is significant enough to turn them into bad champions, so I want to request the infamous Rankdown tickets if this change is here to stay. Now again, I've got to be honest. I didn't know you could not special 3 out of root, but that's because most of the time I get rooted when I'm not even at a special 2, and I kind of just dance around or get screwed. The fact that they did this silently as well is making me create this post since they clearly haven't considered the impact it has on their performance. Black Oracle says stop it and go sit down. So you know how popular that went over. And then you have video proof. If you were always supposed to special out of root, how is this a nerf? Not as a defender. Discussions on Kraven. So clearly, this is not an issue, which most Rankdown tickets issues are. That's unanimous for the community. And I'm not here to tell you, I ranked up Kraven with the synergy for Agent Venom. I don't think I've used him once intentionally. So I'm trying to pass on both sides of the argument and the forum post for the community to decide, but I'm not going to personally have a stance on this because I don't know enough to give my opinion. I'm going to revert to the people who use these champions every day, because even Zemo I've just used on defense. Some people say this is not a big deal. Some people say this is a huge deal. Some people are in the middle. Either way, there are 7 pages of discussions on this. So there's a lot of opinions. I look forward to seeing what you all think. And as always, I appreciate you continuing to watch and support my Marvel Casino of Champions YouTube channel.